everyone, and welcome to the second video in our new series, Sam versus Lee, in association with FF Scout.
I think it should be Lee versus Sam.
No, it's ladies first.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so we're going to start off by thinking about who won in game week 14. So where that first maiden victory goes to.
Who did I have? Yeah, this is not going to go well for me, I don't think. Go on.
No.
Go on.
All right, so we'll start with Lee's team then. So at the back, one solitary point.
Who did I have?
Charlie Taylor.
Oh, that's really unlucky. They were playing really well until he got subbed off. 34 minutes. I've got him in my team as well. I've got a problem. Charlie Taylor size problem in my team right now. Okay, 1 point for Charlie Taylor. Great, brilliant. Yeah.
Into the
midfield, yeah.
You went, can you remember?
No. Who did I have?
You went Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Oh, what a punt!
I mean,
that would have been sensational if that come off. He had more shots than any Liverpool player in that game.
Okay, and he did go off before you conceded, so he did get 3.
Right, okay,
so you're on 4.
Yeah.
Now the saving grace.
I did have Danny Ings, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Yes.
So the saving grace of your picks, Danny Ings, he got 9.
Okay, good.
Which means that you are on a grand total of 13 points for the game week.
That's all right. I'll take it because I've forgotten who you had as well.
All right. So let's have a look at my team. So last week I went for the FPL legend, that is Matt Doherty as my defender.
Did you pick Doherty? Jammy, you're so jammy.
No,
jammy.
I think if you watch the video back, I said that he had some attacking returns in him this week.
All right, okay, very good.
So 8 points for him because he got 2 baps. So
it's already not looking good, is it?
And then into the mid, the maestro.
You had Dele Alli, didn't you?
It is Dele Alli with 15 points.
Oh, right, okay.
And then letting down the side, I thought it was all going to go wrong on Saturday lunchtime when Jesus blanked and got me 2. I was thinking,
you had Jesus, okay.
So
did you beat me with just Ali?
I did, yes. Yeah, so Ali on his own would have beaten you.
Good start, this.
So 25 points for me. So 25 versus 13. That is 1 point
1-0.
to Team Sam.
1-0, okay.
Okay, so this week, the new challenge, we're still keeping with the defender, midfield and forward options.
Okay.
But this week, rather than being differential picks, they are picks, and this is really tough, picks only from sides in the bottom half of the table. So it means that going into game week 15, you can pick players from Palace, Bournemouth, West Ham, Newcastle, Villa, Brighton, Everton, Southampton, Norwich or Watford.
Right, so just the bottom half teams.
Just those bottom 10 teams.
Right, okay.
Only one player allowed from each side within your 3. So you can't pick, say, 3 Palace players. You can only pick 1. So, you can go first as you're losing.
I've got to say it quite so patronising.
A defender.
So the defender that I've picked out for this particular challenge is Diego Rico from Bournemouth. So again, another defender that's in my team. So I'm really backing myself here, which, given the way my season's going, maybe not such a good idea. But I'm going Diego Rico. He's 4.3 in the game, 34 points already so far this season, 13.6% TSB, because we're not worrying about differentials or teams selected by today. This is all about defenders in the bottom half of the table. Now, what I like about him, he's on set pieces. He's taking a lot of corners and free kicks. Now, in recent weeks, Ryan Fraser started to come back into the fray and he started to take over some of those. But I noticed in game week 14, game week just gone, Rico was back on a lot of corners and is therefore getting a lot of the sort of his chance created stat was going up, etc. So, given Bournemouth, let's have a look at their fixture for this game week. They have got Crystal Palace away in game week 15. That's another reason I picked him. Despite the mini renaissance we're seeing from Palace, they haven't historically scored a lot of goals so far this season. Now, I realise that Diego Rico is a risk because I know that who you've picked for your midfield differential, your midfield bottom half of the table pick for midfield, and I know that Mr. Zaha is on a bit of form right now, but I'm backing Diego Rico to be my defender of choice, so I'm going with him.
Okay, so to combat your Rico pick, I am going for a player who... well, it's a Newcastle player, which, quite frankly,
Newcastle defender.
We don't often go.
You sure?
We don't. Well, no, I'm not really. Is the honest answer. But I really struggle to pick one that's got a decent fixture and that's in some form, because let's be honest, there isn't a lot of form in the bottom half of the table right now.
Very true. That's
so
why they're in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah, so I've gone for a player that does have a little bit of form from game week 14 because he did score a goal. So I'm going with Willems. I think if you're going to pick a Newcastle defender, he's the obvious one. the only one, probably, that you're going to go with.
I don't know. Clark has been scoring a couple of goals, unless Lascelles out, but before he was out, was scoring a few goals.
Well, we're going with Willems.
Okay, he loves a worldie. To be fair, he does love a worldie.
I mean, maybe he'll score me another worldie in game week 15. Let's see. But I mean, the fixture is not great either. But
why have you picked this guy?
Because he's got Sheffield. He's got Sheffield next, and they're also good defensively. So is there a possibility that might be a 0-0? That's the kind of the way I saw that game going. That maybe they might just play out a stalemate and it ends 0-0 and I get 6 points. And yeah, that's what we're going with. We're going with Willems and hoping for the best.
We'll go with that. All right, let's go with that.
Okay, let's move into the middle then.
Go with your midfielder first. Let's hear from you.
Well, you've already given it away. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. But the player that is also my personal transfer in for this game week, or one of them. Bringing him in,
are you? Okay,
yeah,
very good.
So I'm going with Wilf Zaha. I think
nice. It's going to be a popular pick, I think.
Palace. I know that you just said that historically this season they've not been scoring a lot of goals, but Zaha's form and his involvement and engagement in games is on the rise for sure.
Do you think that he wants to put himself in the shop window a little bit?
Potentially. I mean, I just think that he is one of those players that at certain points of the season he just performs, and when he gets on that roll, then he is better. And I think I've seen enough from him over the last 2 game weeks. I very, very nearly brought him in myself at the end of game week 12 because the Palace fixtures are so nice in the build up, well, till the end of the year.
Yeah.
But he had Liverpool next, and I didn't necessarily see that him getting anything in that game, but he did, and then he's returned again in game week 14. So looking ahead to game week 15, that would be 3 games on the bounce.
Okay.
With some attacking returns. I think there's a good chance that will happen.
Yeah, I do think he started the season a bit, just a bit slowly. Sort of he wasn't quite fully fit, wasn't he? And he sort of found his feet in the team slowly but surely.
And there was that desire to move. He was quite open about that in the summer.
Maybe his head turned a little bit.
And there's that kind of bringing him back into the squad and that confidence and that want to play for the team, and I feel like it's beginning to grow again with him. So so Zaha for me. Who are you putting up against him?
Well, I think I would have had Zaha as well, but then I had Diego Rico, so I can't really say that. But instead I'm going for Norwich's Cantwell. So Todd Cantwell, very young player, very nice player, I like the look of him, had a fantastic start to the season, and then almost as Norwich's form tailed off, his form sort of tailed off too. And it's noticeable that since Christoph Zimmermann has come back at centre-half, their captain in game week 14, and all right, bit of a handball, wasn't it, that led to one of the penalties for Arsenal in the weekend just gone. But nevertheless, I thought that his return had a bit of a galvanising effect, or has had a bit of a galvanising effect, not just in that Arsenal game, but in game week 13 as well. We're also seeing the return of Pukki as well, so Pukki is getting points as well, alongside Cantwell. So I'm just wondering whether the Norwich Renaissance might be on a little bit. I don't know if I want to see a bit of consistency to bring the likes of Pukki and Cantwell back into my own personal FPL team, but as a 1 week shout against a Southampton team. Now Norwich go to Southampton in game week 15, but I haven't seen a lot of Southampton defensively that makes me think that they're going to keep a pretty free scoring Norwich City team out. I mean, Southampton squeaked past Watford, didn't they, this weekend in what was frankly a massive 6-pointer at the bottom of the league. So they will have a bit of a confidence boost from that. But for a good hour or so of that game, they were 1-0 down to Ismail Sarr's goal, and it was looking a bit bleak for them. So were it not for a bit of a turnaround from Mr. Ings and co, they would be going into this Norwich game really needing something. So I don't think they're firing on all cylinders right now, Southampton. I mean, that's maybe an obvious statement given where they are in the league. But Cantwell and Pukki in particular seem to be back on the rise a little bit. I just sense a bit of a renaissance. So I'm going for Todd Cantwell in the middle.
Interesting. Okay, well, for my forward then, I'm going to join you in the Carrow Road
Mr. Pukki
bus and take the Pukki party
all right.
to my 3-pick team. I'm like you've just said, I'm still not convinced that Norwich are back yet. I'm still not convinced the Pukki party is back in full swing or that there's an after party, but we did see something from him in that Arsenal game at the weekend, and I do feel like
he's been scoring on his international breaks as well, hasn't he? Finland have been reaping the benefit of Pukki.
I think that it's more about Norwich than it is about Pukki, actually, the lean spell that he's had, because as you say, when he's been away on those international breaks, we've seen the Pukki that we knew and loved from the start of the season. Yeah. So, as you've said, with Zimmermann back and with Norwich starting to maybe have a little bit more of a spine to their team, that can only bode well for the likes of Cantwell as you've got and Pukki as I'm bringing in this week. So I think I think he's a nice addition.
You're sort of agreeing with me here, aren't you?
Sort of. Yeah, but I'll take Zaha in my midfield and stick Pukki up top.
Very good. All right. Well, I think at the end of this video, the viewers will think that there must be goals in that Southampton Norwich game because I'm backing, and I feel like I back him every week. I backed him last week in the differentials.
It was the only one that called out for you as well.
He's the only one that done well for me last week. But Danny Ings, there's something about this guy this season. If he can stay fit, and I know that's a big if, given his history and what have you. But if he can stay fit, he's a really, really nice pick. Don't forget that once upon a time Liverpool were going sniffing around. Well, not sniffing. He went to Liverpool only to get really badly injured and not get a bit of a sniff, and then he was out the team for quite a long time. But he is fit and firing on all cylinders this season. I feel like he's still, even now, going a bit under the radar because whenever he scores a goal, it tends to be a consolation goal. It tends to be one in a 2 or a 3-1 defeat, except game week 14 when, of course, he got them back into the game and got them that much-needed win against Watford. I expect that game I think that Norwich and Southampton game, given that we've picked Cantwell, Pukki, and now Danny Ings out,
goals.
Feels like that game is going to decide round 2 of... Yes, absolutely right. Feels like that game is going to decide round 2 of Sam versus Lee. But I'm going with Danny Ings because he is in such a hot streak right now. Whether Southampton win or lose, he seems to get on that score sheet. And he just puts in a shift. Every time you see him, he is one of the hardest working strikers in the league. And we saw that in previous game weeks when he's rushing down Alisson, he's rushing down other keepers. Not Alisson, it was Adrian, wasn't it, in the Liverpool goal that time. He's really pressuring those goalkeepers into making mistakes, and he's doing it every single game week. So I expect to see more goalkeeper mistakes, more defender mistakes as Ings puts the pressure on from the front line. So I'm going with Danny Ings.
So to recap your 3 picks then, your 3 bottom half picks.
My bottom half of the league picks in round 2 of Lee versus Sam. Diego Rico.
Sam versus Lee.
Lee versus Sam. Diego Rico, Todd Cantwell and Danny Ings.
Okay, and I'll put up against them Willems, Zaha and Pukki.
I'm worried about your Zaha and Pukki. I'm not worried about your Newcastle defender, but Zaha and Pukki...
Worldy coming.
Zaha and Pukki does look very, very good indeed. That is going to be hard to beat. Well, there we go, guys. Get in the comments below. Let us know who your bottom half of the table picks are. So you've got Newcastle, you've got Bournemouth, you've got Norwich, Southampton, even Watford if you fancy somebody from Watford. All those bottom half of the table teams. Tell us who your defender, your midfielder and your forward pick would be for Game Week 15. Good luck in Game Week 15 and we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Bye.